Hi everyone, I'm here with Steve Soffer and he's about to share his empowering story of how he reduced his PSA reading from 8 to 3, that's the prostate exam reading, completely naturally, and a few other things as well. So I'm super excited to have you here. Thank you so much again for affording me the time.
Absolutely.
It was really interesting meeting you the other night and talking about this.
Yeah.
We actually met through a men's entrepreneurial group, didn't we? Actually?
We did, yeah.
And,
Metal.
Yeah, great to meet these kind of folk. So, thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah, should we just jump straight in? Can you give us your story?
Sure, absolutely, and thanks for inviting me to come share with you guys.
My pleasure.
So, just about 8 years ago, I was 62 at the time. I had just turned 62. I'm 70 now, and
you look amazing.
yeah, thank you. I was waiting for that cue.
Yeah, yeah, just went a little bit quiet for a second.
And then, I had been in a long-term marriage that didn't work out, and I just started dating a lovely woman who I'm still with today. And when we met, sparks were flying, and we were having a great time in our relationship. And as with a lot of relationships that are new, there was quite a bit of intimate relationships going on, a lot more than in my previous relationship, because it was a new relationship. And unfortunately, things were not quite working the way I had thought, and they should, or at least I wanted them to work. And it turns out that I just kind of thought it was old age, things not working the way they should.
As often people just think, they just kind of accept that, don't they?
Exactly.
Looking at what's going on.
Yeah. So, and then just about 2-3 months into the relationship, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And had the biopsy, had the PSA. My PSA was 8 at the time, and the doctors thought that was too high. My brother, who was my doctor at the time as well, suggested that I have my prostate removed. The 3 options that I researched at the time were, of course, remove your prostate, and or radiation or chemo. Those are the traditional methods, and none of them sounded too exciting to me, simply because you end up with side effects potentially with all of them, which are, none of them sounded too exciting. You could lose your erectile function, which didn't sound too good.
No one wants that.
Nobody wanted that, especially in a new relationship.
Yeah.
And or you could be incontinent, become incontinent, and that didn't sound like an exciting idea, wearing a bag as well. So I was thinking, since my cancer was not aggressive at the time, I thought, okay, well, let me see what else is out there. My brother didn't want me to wait, but I said, let me check out my other options. And I had 3 months before my next PSA exam my doctor, who was the urologist, the specialist, said it was fine to wait for 3 more months and get retested. So I said, okay, great. Let me see what other options are out there. So just coincidentally, a friend of mine told me that there was a diet that would cure cancer, and I kind of laughed him off. I thought, that's crazy. There's no diet that I know of that's going to cure cancer, and that doesn't even. I'm not trying to lose weight. Doesn't even sound like a possibility.
Yeah, and if you read an article in the Guardian back in January, this article from a reputable newspaper actually completely refused to believe, or basically stated categorically, there is no diet to cure cancer.
Right.
And there's just a horrific article which I kind of wrote about, because I just completely debunked every claim they made.
Yeah.
And really, one reason why I really don't follow anything in the media about health anymore.
Sure.
So good for you for not kind of turning your nose up at that.
Well, I did at first, actually.
You did?
I thought it was ridiculous. You know, what diet's going to cure cancer? I'm not trying to lose weight, so I just kind of poo-pooed it. But coincidentally, within a few days, right across from my office was a movie about a doctor who would cure cancer using diet, and I said to Wendy, my girlfriend, let's go check it out. And so,
what's it called?
I think it was called The Beautiful Life, but don't quote me on that one. It was the Gerson story. Okay.
Yes, the Gerson Institute.
Yep.
Very familiar with that. Yeah.
So we went to the movie. We watched it. We thought, what the hell? We both decided, for the next 3 months until my next PSA test, let's go for it. Let's just check it out. I was praying it was going to work, thinking that, it probably would be a miracle if it did. But So for 3 months, I ate nothing but raw vegetables for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My breakfast was basically a V8 that I would make in a blender. Threw in tomatoes, cucumbers, a little bit of celery, and some lemon, water, salt, pepper, cayenne, and that was my breakfast. And for lunch, it was a small salad. Dinner was a monster salad. And in between, I was popping raw nuts, almonds and cashews.
For the fats?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And the first month I was starving. I could not get enough food in my body.
Yeah.
Just eating constantly. But starting month 2 and 3, I wasn't that hungry.
It's amazing how fast the body adapts,
Yeah.
isn't it? We think we need all this protein and high glycemic carbohydrates, but we just don't, because the body can adapt very quickly.
So I started losing weight, which was good because I was about 10 pounds overweight at the time, and started feeling better, you know. And the end of the 3 months, we went back to get my PSA tested, and it went down to 3 with no medication, just a diet.
So 5 points in 3 months.
In 3 months.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What did your doctor say about that?
Didn't know. Didn't really know. And I asked my brother, I said, Mick, you know, what's the story? How could this be? He says, you know what? It's possible, but we're not trained in nutrition, so I really don't understand or know how that could work.
And that's quite a big point, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Which we were talking about the other night.
Yep, exactly.
Talk about now.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's a really interesting point. I mean, I'd love to lead on to your brother now at this point. Is that good?
Well, no, because the story continues because
okay.
What was interesting, was my body was transforming, and things that I hadn't realized were being caused by all this internal inflammation. Toxicity, exactly.
Yeah.
Were starting to be affected as well. So, for example, I've been an athlete pretty much my whole life. Hadn't played basketball or tennis for 2 years because I had a sciatic problem in my left hip. And I thought, well, that's it. My basketball days are over. Well, about 5-6 months into this diet, and by the way, at the end of 3 months, I didn't stay as strict, and today I'm not as strict as that. I eat a plant-based diet, but not totally 100% plants.
This is what I hear. What people do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went back. I eat fish. Stay away from chicken.
Wild caught salmon.
Wild caught salmon primarily.
Yeah.
And some shrimp, and some eggs on the weekends. Stay away from carbohydrates pretty much, except from time to time I'll have bread, but I eat brown rice or brown rice bread if I need. But my hip started healing, and I was like, wow, this is another benefit of it. And I'm going, this is truly amazing. And so I thought, this is something that I should learn about.
Incredible.
And so I started researching it and studying it, and started sharing my story with people so that people could benefit from my experience.
So your hip starts to improve.
Yep.
What about the sciatic nerve?
Sciatic nerve, that was the hip. That was the inflammation.
Yeah.
And this past weekend, I played basketball full court for an hour.
Amazing.
The weekend before, I played Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. About an hour and a half each day, and I was a little sore afterwards.
Yeah.
But I'm playing full court basketball with 20 and 30-year-old kids.
Fantastic.
And
you got your life back.
I got my life back, and it was awesome. Yeah. But more importantly, the thing that wasn't working so well before is not only working well, but it's working better. It's like I'm like a 20-year-old again.
Amazing.
And
hear that, men?
That's for real.
Hear that, gentlemen?
That is for real.
If that's not inspiration, I don't know what is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's pretty much that part of the story, and it continues, and I feel good. I'm exercising still, and
fantastic.
Eating. It's a journey. Just like everyone on these kinds of journeys, you go in and out of phase, and sometimes you're doing better than others. But I'm trying to stay as true to eating a plant-based diet as possible, and
with a little bit of
fish and some eggs for me, which seems to work.
No meat?
I might have a hot dog once a year if I go to Dodger Stadium.
In the bun?
In the bun. Because once in a while you just got to do it. Yeah. And I happen to love corned beef sandwiches, so once or twice, 3 times a year, I'll have a corned beef sandwich. I treat myself, exactly. Amazing. With French fries and coleslaw and the whole bit. Yeah, so it's good.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
For the most part, I think you told me you're off gluten.
Off gluten?
Yeah.
Yep, off gluten.
Commonplace for everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And dairy.
I don't eat any dairy.
No dairy. Yeah.
I mean, occasionally if I go to a party and there's cheese dip, I'm a sucker for that. So that phone's gonna ring for a few minutes, so we'll just have to ignore it in the background. Sorry about that.
We can. Okay, I was going to suggest I just entertain them for a bit while you pick it up.
No,
that's fine.
We're good. We're good.
So yeah, just on the points on gluten and dairy, I've been following a lot about autoimmune diseases, and I'm helping someone right now reverse her rheumatoid arthritis. Her doctor categorically told her there is nothing you can do about it, and not to listen to the nutrition nonsense.
Oh wow!
This is in England.
Oh my!
So she's feeling better already. But yeah, first thing, anyone who helps people with autoimmune diseases is gluten out, dairy out.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
There are a few forms of dairy that can actually be okay, like kefir and even really mature cheeses. But for the most part, for autoimmune disease and cancer, it's pretty much elimination.
Yeah.
And other grains, you've mentioned you occasionally have brown rice.
Brown rice, not white.
Would you be interested to know that white rice is actually less offensive than brown rice?
Really? Yeah. Of course.
It's the harmful components have been minimised, and there's way less arsenic in it.
Interesting.
There's 80% more arsenic in brown rice, so it's actually more inflammatory.
I love arsenic. No.
Love that stuff.
Just kidding.
Yeah. So yeah, I was actually listening to a Bulletproof radio podcast on the way here, and they were talking about it. And
cool.
It's something I've been reading up on, but white rice in smaller quantities, as long as it's accompanied by lots of vegetables and a little bit of protein, is actually less harmful than brown rice. Yeah. It's slightly higher on the glycemic index, so it triggers a sharper blood sugar response. Yeah. But if it's accompanied with what I just said, then that's brought down and it has a much less inflammatory effect. Lower inflammatory effect. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, good to know.
Yeah, just on the inflammation thing, the PSA, I don't think I said this at the beginning, it's actually a marker of inflammation of the prostate. So there's other ways that we can actually measure inflammation. You don't actually have to wait until you have to go and have your prostate examined, but there's other blood tests. Are you familiar with these?
I'm not. I'd like to hear.
Blood tests such, a full inflammation panel preferably, C-reactive protein is one of them, and there are others. Fasting blood glucose, triglycerides, the very low density lipoprotein, that's actually part of the cholesterol panel, but it's not actually cholesterol. That's the only one that actually makes a difference. But there's a few more which we can take regularly, like 6 months every year, to actually determine our level of health. Yeah. And the thing is, we tend to wait too late. We tend to wait until there's a problem. Yeah. But all of this is measurable. Yeah. So maybe I should talk to you after that about things to just kind of look out for.
Absolutely.
I would love to talk to you about your brother now.
Sure.
So your brother, you said, got prostate cancer.
Yeah. So.
Who's a doctor?
Yeah. So about 6 months after I was diagnosed, and he watched me go through this process and watch my PSA drop, he was coincidentally diagnosed as well, and we talked about it, and because he, I think, just felt more comfortable knowing that, in his mind, the cancer would be removed from his body, then he went ahead with having a prostatectomy, which is having your prostate taken out.
Such a risk.
Yeah.
Such a risk.
Yeah. He's fine, but, we have some interesting discussions, and he's open to, being that there's a possibility of other things that he may not be aware of because he's only trained in medicine or in our belief in disease.
Yeah. Disease maintenance.
Yep. And so, in my opinion, I think the body is still toxic. That caused the prostate problem in the first place.
Yes, that was a perfect lead-in to my next question. Is what's your definition of cancer now?
Well, okay, so my personal definition, after having studied this for the last 8 years, is that cancer is a result of a toxicity in the body, and the body is trying to deal with it. Yeah. And so if you heal the body and the immune system is intended as, nature's way of healing the body and curing whatever ailments that you have. I think that's what God intended. So I think if you believe that you can do it and you aren't too far advanced, and I'm not saying that this is for all cancers, because I do believe that there are cancers that are caused by external circumstances.
We can't say it's for every single one, I agree.
Yeah. And in many cases, changing your diet may be not the only sufficient or sufficient in and of itself. If you're far advanced in your stage of cancer, you might have to have an operation or chemo or radiation. But many times those toxic approaches are just as detrimental as the disease itself.
Totally. Chemotherapy, highly toxic. It annihilates the entire immune system.
Yeah.
And conventional medicine doesn't really encourage you to strengthen the immune system whilst undergoing it either.
Yeah.
So they're just like, go and destroy your immune system and go and feed on cakes.
And now it's very hard.
Sugar to feed the cancer.
Yeah. And now it's really hard for your body to recover and for the immune system to heal the underlying problem.
Yeah.
So it's a complicated question that you asked, but ideally we catch things early and we try and heal ourselves or let our body heal ourselves. By supplementing, giving the nutrients and basically the tools for the body to do its own work.
Yeah, our bodies are designed to heal themselves.
Yeah.
When you give them the right fuel.
Exactly.
When you give them everything they need. You take out the toxins, you load up on like the micronutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, live enzymes, etc. Your immune system goes like this, the toxicity comes down.
What are vitamins?
Vitamins. Sorry, I forget I have to translate for something. Had an interesting episode in Whole Foods the other night.
Oh yeah?
Trying to say raw honey, and she thought I was saying royal honey. Went on for 5 minutes. I mean, my definition of cancer is very similar to yours in that it's a symptom of toxicity in the body and a suppressed immune system.
Right.
And I mean, I've learned this from Ty Bollinger and the whole Truth About Cancer series, and meeting with other kind of people who I call pioneers in cancer.
Sure.
But it's there's lots of areas where toxicity can come from. It can come from the food supply. It can come from the environment. It can come from exposure to chemicals, metals. It could be pathogens and fungi and all sorts of stuff. So, and it can be emotional.
Yeah.
I really believe. I think it's 3 things really to be truly healthy. It's you got to have your nutrition on. You got to be physically active. And you got to manage emotions.
Yeah.
And this third part is something I've been learning about so much recently. Actually, with a friend of mine who's studied trauma release therapy and exercises, and she healed her chronic pain of 3 years by understanding the mind-body connection. So you could basically have nutrition spot on. You could have physical activity spot on. But if that's not managed, if there's trauma from the past not dealt with, that's enough to manifest disease in itself.
Absolutely.
And that's all in that book as well.
Yeah.
So, really interesting. You just made me think of something else as well with the vitamins. I watched a documentary not so long ago, a few years ago, called Food Matters.
Oh, yeah.
And there was one guy on it who said, the problem we have in today's Western world is that we are stuffing our faces and we are starving.
Yeah.
We are stuffing our faces and we are obese.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes total sense. We are stuffing our faces and we are starving. We are obese and we are starving.
Yeah.
We are diabetic and we are starving. Because
Yeah.
we're not thinking about the nutrient capacity of the food that we're eating.
Yeah.
We load up on terrible forms of carbohydrates, often trans fats, fried food, that kind of stuff, which is worse than smoking apparently, like trans fats and fried stuff.
Sure.
So we're all undernourished, we're malnourished in the micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals from plant-based foods, vitamins and minerals. So what you did, when you went plant-based, you were just loading up your body with micronutrients.
Yes.
Like, massively, and that's what Gerson does, isn't it?
And I actually didn't follow the Gerson method, specifically, but I tried to get as much nutrients into my body, and for example, today, my morning shake has green powders in it to make sure that I get enough greens throughout the day, no matter what I eat for the rest of the day. So that's how I start off my day. I have 3 different kinds of green powders, and then lunch might be some hummus with crackers that are either typically they'll be made from almond wheat rather than or almond meal flour rather than regular flour. and then dinner is a salad and maybe some fish, something like that, and it feels great, and giving me the energy that I need.
That your cells need. Yeah,
exactly.
Really interesting point that as well. I could talk for hours on this stuff, but it's like human cells. They require 4 things: so oxygen, water, nutrients, and the ability to eliminate waste.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us aren't oxygenating our cells enough. We're like 30 trillion odd cells, and most of us aren't actually oxygenating our cells. In fact, one of the pioneers at the Truth About Cancer Life Symposium said the number one reason for chronic disease is under-oxygenation of cells, which leads to inflammation, which is the toxicity. So we typically live very sedentary lives. Not everyone, but typically we're not moving anymore.
Right.
And which is why sitting is the new smoking, and this, we've all heard that, I think, now. But yeah, and the water's contaminated, which is why I invested a stupid amount of money in my water machine.
Yeah.
Nutrients, we're not getting enough nutrients anymore, because even if we do have a plate full of vegetables, a lot of those nutrients, those live enzymes, have gone because we're not following the seasons, and by the time they arrive at the plate, they're kind of they're depleted.
Sure.
And then we'll go and zap them in the microwave.
Sure.
And they're completely zapped of any nutrients. So, there's various things. Oh, the last point, ability to eliminate waste, the immune system, the lymphatic system, the part of the immune system responsible for getting rid of dead cells, like dead cancer cells. Because we make them every day, don't we? Everyone creates cancer cells in our body, but as you were saying earlier, if you have a strong immune system, they get fought.
I think the way I look at it is our bodies are machines, and the organs are the necessary tools that eliminate the waste. They take the nutrients that come in and the waste products, and it processes it and uses the nutrients to fuel our bodies and eliminate the waste by filtering it out. And if those filters, the organs basically get backed up, clogged up like toxins, they can't process it anymore, and the toxins start spewing out into the body.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
We get loaded up with toxins every day unknowingly.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of detoxes which are presented in this Truth About Cancer series, actually. What's the point I was going to make? Oh, the lymphatic system. Yeah, it requires movement.
Yeah.
And again, we're not moving enough, so we're under-oxygenated.
Yeah.
And then the lymphatic system requires movement. It requires for your body temperature to rise slightly, and then it requires for us to move, because unlike the cardiovascular system, which is the heart and blood vessels, you have a pump, the heart pumping it all round, but the lymphatic system doesn't.
Correct.
It requires for your body to move.
Interestingly enough, recently, within the last 3-4 months, I started doing yoga.
Amazing.
And one of the interesting things that I'm finding with yoga is that when you are practicing yoga, some of the positions require extreme twisting of the body.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I feel like literally they're like taking a sponge with my organs and wringing them out.
Yeah.
So it's really a great way to detox.
I'm 100% in alignment with you on that one.
Yeah,
it's an incredible thing to do. If you're not doing yoga yet, do it, because
it's awesome.
It gets you. It not only strengthens your entire musculoskeletal system, your muscles, your bones, your joints, your cartilages, your tendons, your ligaments.
Yeah.
It drains the lymphatic system. It makes your lymphatic system strong. And as you were saying, you have all those twists, and they say that the different twists that you massage your organs.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
And what are you going to say? Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, that's okay.
But what were you saying? After yoga, you feel amazing?
Oh, you feel great, and it's a great workout. Actually, I did it this morning at 5:45.
Wow.
Which I'm not one to get up that early in the morning, but my girlfriend started dragging me there, and now I love it. So
amazing.
It's been really a great blessing in my life. I feel like, honestly, if I continue to eat the way I'm eating, and also practice yoga and play basketball and be happy and have a blessed life like I do, I feel like I can live to 100 or more and be active. Honestly,
amazing.
Yeah,
full of energy, full of beans,
ready to go.
Super cool. Cool. Is there anything else you wanted to say about your brother? I realised we kind of segued into something else very quickly. How's he doing now?
He's great. I love him.
What we spoke about on the weekend was, he's had the prostate out, but that's the tip of the iceberg. Like the tumor is the tip of the iceberg, isn't it? The cancer, because it's neglecting to think about all the toxicity that's built up over all those years. Like sometimes it can take a decade for a tumor to be at a size which is detectable.
Sure.
And it's taken years of toxicity to build up and years of immune system suppression for that to happen.
Yeah.
So you were actually saying, I think, that he's had it out and he's okay, but you're not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would like him to understand, what I feel is the underlying problem and what caused the prostate cancer in the first place.
Yeah.
And removing the tumorous or the cancerous cells doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad thing if you're so far advanced that the cancer starts to, you want to catch it before it, spreads. But ideally, you want to heal it from within.
Yeah.
That's the ideal. So yeah, I mean, he's a great guy. We have some very interesting conversations, and I'm making some inroads.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I actually, I mean, it's going to be quite controversial, and I actually think of chemotherapy and radiotherapy, even surgery, as like if you've got something wrong with your car, the engine's not working, something's it's just not working at all, and you go and give it a paint job, just to kind of expect for things to be okay. It's like taking off that final bit of the tip of the iceberg, and then expecting everything to be fine.
Right. Well, here's an example using your analogy with the car. So let's say that you're putting really bad gas into your car, and it's gunked up your carburetor.
That's a way better analogy.
And now you take out the carburetor, but you still keep putting the crappy gas in. Guess what? You're still sick.
Yeah.
Your car is not going to work properly. Eventually, something else is going to go wrong with it.
Yes.
So that's how I look at it.
So if you continue
I copyrighted that, by the way, so you
you
have to pay me a nickel.
So if you continue to do what you were doing before, after you've had the cancer treatment, whatever treatment it is, that toxicity is just going to continue to grow, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And there's so many blood work measurements you can take as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Was there any other question I wanted to... I wanted to ask you... This has been quite a long talk. I wanted to quickly ask you about your daughter, but maybe we've been talking long enough.
We can talk another time.
We can talk another time.
I have some more to tell you, so we'll do another session.
We're on very similar tracks. We're trying to put out there.
Exactly.
Steve, thank you so much.
Hey, dude.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. Really
thank you,
talking.
and thank you.
And I hope that's been really valuable for you guys. Please like and share. Really important stuff for anyone you know with high PSA reading, or any guys over 40, or if you know a guy over 40.
Or any kind of health issues, really.
If you have any health issues, really. Yeah. So enjoy, and please share, and see you in the next video.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Vitality Secret podcast. If you liked this, please leave a 5-star rating. And if you loved it, please take a few minutes to leave a review. The more ratings and reviews that are left, the easier it is for this life-changing information to get into the hands of people who need it. Take your vitality to the next level at vitalitysecret.com.